I'm making Chura Gherte. I mean, if you know this, I salute you. It's a rice and groundnut porridge. Groundnut meaning peanuts. I'll be using that word interchangeably on this video and moving forward. It is a hot porridge, typically eaten for breakfast in the Gambia, but it can also be eaten for dinner. Made with ground raw groundnuts, rice, and a few seasonings, it is often served with yogurt or condensed milk to yield a nourishing and filling meal to get you set for the day ahead. So, if you're aiming to take a break from oatmeal, this is the recipe for you. And I'm making it extra rich with protein with a secret ingredient you'll be sure to never leave out of this recipe. To make this one, I'm going to start off by grinding some raw peanuts to make what is called noflai. It's a term used to describe ground raw peanuts. These peanuts have already been dried out of their shell, so they are moisture free but also very rich in oil content. Alternatively, one can use ground roasted peanuts, which is peanut butter, but the most traditional way to make Chura Gherte is with ground raw peanuts. Add a good amount of raw peanuts to your food processor to favor you when you want to plan your meals in advance. The more you make, the better. Grind them until they're as fine as possible, similar to almond flour, without the contents turning to paste. Once you're done grinding your groundnuts, you'll get a very light and slightly coarse texture. Feel it with dry hands and gauge if you want to grind it a little bit more. Then store the dried groundnuts in a clean, dry glass container. It stacks up pretty well. If you've never had this before, you're in for a nice discovery. I wouldn't say a nice treat because you have to flavor it the way you want. And aside from porridges like Chura Gherte, you can add this naflai to soups like plasas and another rice dish like mbahal butilin, all Gambian recipes. The end product of this ground groundnuts stores pretty well in the fridge. That way the oil from the groundnuts doesn't go rancid if you leave it out in the open, like in your pantry. Breakfast is no joke in my household. My sister is preparing to make some oven-baked pancake by referencing my vegan protein-packed pancake recipe, which I shared at the end of last year on my YouTube channel. And I was thinking, if you're out of hemp seeds, you can replace it with this grounded raw groundnuts I just made, since groundnuts are very much supercharged with plant-based protein. So there you have it. Alright, so remember when I said I'm making this Chura Gherte a bit more high in protein than I normally have had it? It's because I'm adding in some quinoa. That's right. Here I have a tricolor quinoa, which is quinoa made with 3 different colors. You can use any color of quinoa you prefer. I like adding a bit of je ne sais quoi to my Chura Gherte instead of making it plain. That's okay. Together with that, I'm adding in some rice. You can use short grain or long grain without much starch. I'm using long grain rice. Jasmine to be specific. Measure out equal amounts of the rice and the quinoa, then combine them in a bowl in preparation to wash them. But before you wash them, measure out some naflai. the grounded raw peanuts I made earlier, because remember, you want to keep this product moisture free so it doesn't grow mold after an accidental splash of water. Wash the rice and quinoa with water until the water runs clear. Feel free to use a sieve to catch the quinoa grains since it's the smallest of the two grains. To a fairly large cooking pot, add in the washed grains together with water and the ground raw peanuts. Season this combination with coarse sea salt, and I'm adding in some cinnamon powder for a sophisticated flavor, which is normally not a typical ingredient used in Gambian cooking. Stir this combination well, cover the pot with a lid, and bring to a boil on high heat. Yamaroos? At about the 10-minute mark, when the contents are at a rolling boil, use a wooden spoon to stir the pot and reduce the heat to about medium level. Cover the pot slightly with its lid and stir the contents every now and again to prevent the contents from sticking to the bottom of the pot. Continue to boil the contents until the porridge has thickened and most of the liquid has been absorbed. This will take between another 25 to 30 minutes, depending on how thick you want your porridge to be, but you definitely do not want it watery. At about the 30-minute mark, when the porridge is getting thicker, it is typical to add in granulated sugar to sweeten the porridge. But I'm switching things up here, as I prefer to sweeten my Chura Gherte with honey after portioning it in my bowl. Once done cooking, turn off the heat and stir in some ground nutmeg. Also, another layer of sophisticated flavor. Chura Gherte is often served with yogurt or condensed milk. I preferred the latter growing up, but here's an updated version. I'm serving it with cashew yogurt. You can find a recipe on my channel. I'm also going to top it off with some homemade peanut butter that I'll be using to make the damoda. I'm adding in a drizzle of honey for sweetness and of course some crushed roasted peanuts. Y'all, once you have it this way, you'll never want to have it any other way. I'm serving it with some mint tea for cozy experience. For more recipes like this in this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to share this video with a loved one who is looking forward to cooking more cultural foods to make on a daily basis. Thank you again for watching and chat with you in my next video. Later!